A distinguished American heritage begun in colonial times is continued by today's craftsmen. The manufacture of furniture masterpieces. Yet the poised grace of a traditional chair or the beautiful luster of a serpentine sideboard often masks the careful, expert touches lavished upon them by the cabinet maker. Only the experienced eye captures the patient care that worked in over 160 individual pieces of inlay into the drawer fronts of the sideboard, or fashioned the delicate turnings in a breakfront. Today, the matchless skills of early American cabinet makers are preserved by Americans at work, union furniture workers who reproduce the classics of our nation's colonial era, masterworks of the Queen Anne, Chippendale, White, and Sheraton styles. The furniture worker of today enjoys the advantages of power tools and machines, like the swing cutoff saw used to rough cut wood to various required lengths. While tools have changed and improved, two factors in making fine furniture have remained constant: the skill of the artisan and the need for high-quality hardwoods from the forests of the world. Under the sure touch of a band saw operator, the graceful lines of a cabriole leg begin to emerge. The beauty, strength, lightness, and ease of working mahogany made it a favorite wood among the 18th century English and colonial cabinet makers. Rough planks of kiln-dried mahogany are fed into a planing machine, which smooths the surfaces of the board to a true uniform thickness. Colonial craftsmen perform this same operation by hand with a variety of complex planes, some as long as 30 inches in length. The angle of the planing blade, forged by the village smith, was set according to the kind of wood being planed. A ripping machine cuts lumber to prescribed widths, and by an ingenious set of rollers, returns it to the operator. The cut pieces are then ready to be welded into tabletops by a process which uses high-frequency heating equipment and the latest synthetic glues. Legs and spindles for tables and chairs are swiftly rough carved on a machine lathe. But this was not always so. In colonial Williamsburg, the joiner's shop contains a rudimentary colonial lathe known as a great wheel. The huge wheel, 8 feet in diameter, was cranked by the joiner's ruleful apprentice who supplied the power to turn the spindle. The lathe operator and his machine eliminate the tedious, unrewarding aspects of carving for the spindle and hand carvers who finish the lathes. On a spindle lathe, the spindle carver employs a variety of turning tools with quaint-sounding names: skews, round and square noses, gouges, and diamond points or spears. With these, he adroitly performs the first of the finished carving operations, turning legs and spindles into a variety of patterns. A worker gently presses the rough edge of a tabletop to a whirling sanding belt, thus beginning one of the several sandings it will receive to produce the prized smoothness of a finished heirloom. More complex pieces, such as carved cabriole legs, are sanded on a high-speed machine, where the craftsman's steady hand and perceptive eye guide the piece closer to completion. This ball and claw design of Chinese origin represents a dragon claw grasping a pearl and is traceable to the influence of Thomas Chippendale upon colonial furniture makers. Among collectors and lovers of fine furniture, the hand carver's deft skill and artistry are cherished as a priceless treasure. Here, a hand carver embellishes the surface of a tabletop with a freehand design. Early American furniture frequently features carving, which in many cases is an essential part of the overall design. Rosettes, shell designs, fluting, and various leaf patterns are features of the best designs and within easy reach of the carver's skill. With his talented hands, the carver breathes living shapes into formless pieces of wood, indelibly stamping them with beauty to delight and please generations of men. The carver, like all artists, knows the capabilities and limitations of his tools and continually maintains their sharpness and condition. Thus, the gentle urging of the carver's hands shapes the soft curves and delicate lines of leaf motifs, which have fascinated carvers since ancient times. The many hand operations performed on each piece are a hallmark of the skilled crafting with which today's furniture workers reproduce the masterpieces of colonial times. Whether he is sanding a chair or table to a fine sheen or assembling various components into a finished piece, he exercises the same meticulous care, the care of craftsmen proud of their skills and creations. The expert dovetailing of finished drawers is another example of this quality workmanship, which lies hidden away behind the eye-catching exterior of the finished table or chest. A gracefully fluted and tapered bedpost of Chippendale design receives its finishing touches. The canopied field or tent beds of the Revolutionary War period established four-posters as a popular American tradition. Like artisans of old, the furniture maker identifies his work with a trademark, signifying that it is the handiwork of skilled craftsmen dedicated to work of the highest quality. The latest advances in science are used by today's furniture worker. A dowel bathed in a new synthetic glue joins a tapered gate leg to its hinge. This is then fitted by the assembler into the carefully cut joint. Another dowel secures the hinged leg, permitting it to swing into place. The cabinet maker's exact workmanship permits this close fitting of wooden parts. A reproduction of a block front chest, styled in colonial times by the Townsend and Goddard families of Newport, is antiqued before finishing. The headboard of a bed is similarly antiqued by a worker who gently rubs the wood with a stone, giving it a semblance of age. When an article has been assembled and sanded, it is ready for finishing. Then a complicated ritual begins. Approximately 21 steps are required to achieve the desired effect of all finishers. The mellowed look and patina of a fine collector's piece. Anywhere from 15 to 50 hours may be needed to finish a single object. The finisher paints with the pride and zeal of an artist. Each operation he performs, from staining and rubbing to lacquering and polishing, is carefully designed to create a beautiful and durable finish. At his touch, the swirled figure of mahogany glows in rich color. Highlighting the grain pattern is another finishing process, accentuating the inherent beauty of the wood. Like his finely crafted creations, the furniture maker's vast skills are mellowed to perfection with age and experience. A table of Chinese design is covered with glue prior to receiving a decorative covering. By an interesting quirk of history, Chinese furniture, introduced by the same trading companies which stimulated English settlement of North America, influenced English designers and their colonial counterparts. The covering is laid on in sections and then rubbed with a block to remove air bubbles and excess glue from beneath the covering. The deft strokes of the workers' hands glide across the tabletop until the section is firmly in place. Gold tooling is applied by machine to the edge of a leather-top table. The worker's steady hand guides the table as the tooling is applied. The carved scallop shell, a design commonly seen in colonial decoration, first appeared in Queen Anne furniture of the early 18th century. In a variety of sizes and styles, it was used to embellish drawer fronts, legs, and other casework. Finally, the completed piece. A masterwork of the furniture maker's art is prepared for shipping. Workmen carefully cushion delicate parts before packing the pieces into strong cartons. The choice pieces of mahogany, which first traveled to the manufacturer from the jungle forests of Brazil and Central America, are now molded into beautiful creations destined for more travel. To decorators, fine furniture stores, and discriminating homes throughout the United States, as well as our embassies throughout the world. Thus, the furniture worker's skill transcends the barriers of time, politics, and geography, bringing us the delight of delicately wrought beauty from faraway lands and eras gone by. With a carving chisel, he raises his craft into the realm of art, where beauty is balanced with utility, and a solid craftsmanship forms its enduring foundation. A distinguished American tradition is preserved, bringing the joy of beautiful furniture into the homes of America, by members of the United Furniture Workers of America, Afl-Cio, Americans at work for you. Americans at Work, presented as a public service by the Afl-Cio. Next week, another story of Americans at work. Americans whose skill and effort help keep our country great and strong.